first thing you want to do is take this thing and drop it in a bucket of clean water, and then come and listen to the noise this makes. It's great. I'm just going to leave that in there for about a minute or so. What we're doing is, this is going to be quite high suction. By just letting it soak for a little bit and take the majority of that suction out. Now we're not going to leave it in there for too long because I do want a little bit of suction. I just don't want it to dry the plaster out like that.
If the plaster dries too fast, the vent will just fall off.
See all the bubbles coming out?
No ventilation is one of the biggest causes of mould.
That's just literally had about 60 seconds in there, so now I'm just going to leave that out and just leave that there for a minute. You can use dry wallboard adhesive for fixing these. You're not going to be putting any screws or anything like that into them. You're just going to stick it on with either dry wall adhesive, or I'm going to use a little bit of cove adhesive.
The average person exhales about 1.5 litres of moisture a week. Now, if you remember from chemistry, that comes out as a vapour. Then it goes and finds a cold surface and condenses and turns to water. So I want you to imagine tipping 1.5 litres of water out in your bedroom every week. Now, that doesn't take into account sweat, drying clothes on radiators, cooking, showers. All these things contribute to creating more and more condensation in your home. And as you know, where there's water, things start coming to life. Hence, you get mould growth. And then what happens is people usually make the mistake and think that they've got damp and start fighting a problem that doesn't even exist.
See the little vents in it? You want them to be facing away from the eye. So, if the vent's down low, lower than eye level, you don't want them facing up because you can see into them. So you turn it that way. Okay, if it's above eye level, like up there, we're going to have it facing that way. You don't want it like that so you can look into it. You have it that way up instead. Okay.
Now, it's only human nature to want to keep the windows shut in winter. But whilst it's cold and the condensation is forming on the walls, it's really important that you've got plenty of ventilation to take that moisture away. That's why air vents are so important.
I'm just going to check that it's level. Just sight it in with these things. If it looks right, it is right, so there. Now, I'm quite fortunate that this stuff was mixed quite thick and we didn't leave this in the water too long, so there's a bit of suction, so that's held still. Now, what you can sometimes get is, if there's moisture on the back of it, this can start sliding. Perhaps the wall's been painted and you've had to seal the wall first, you haven't gone on bare plaster, and it's sliding a little bit. In that case, some guys like to put some nails underneath it to stop it sliding down the wall, but then you've got to patch up the nail holes. Instead, just get a little bit of scrib, fold the end up, don't make it too big that it's going to break these, but just push it into these so it's nice and tight, and then you're just going to hold out the wall, get a little bit of tape like that. There you go. And you're just going to tape it in place, and that's just going to take the weight. I've just wedged a bit of screw in there and tape it up, and that way there's no holes that you've got to patch up. It's just going to be supported like that.
Wedging a little bit of scrim into the vent works perfectly. In the past, I've tried taping the vent in place, but because the vent's wet, because it's only just come out the bucket of water, you usually find that the tape doesn't stick to it. Now, you wouldn't believe the amount of times I've turned up to look at a job where there's mould growth, and you look outside and there's been some lunatic with a silicone gun filling up every little hole in the vent to stop any air circulation. Now, if you've got mould growth, this is the first thing you want to check for. Make sure that the room is well ventilated. Make sure that the vents are open. Check your windows if they've got trickle vents, and if they haven't, get them installed. The next thing you want to do is try and get rid of any cold spots. So go in your loft and make sure that the insulation is good and it's all over. There's no bits missing. These plaster vents are a great choice because they can't be closed.
Don't brush inwards because you'll dig it out. Just go 90-degree angle to it.
And then finally, to deal with the mould, There is all sorts of fancy liquids that you can apply to it, but ultimately household bleach will kill it. Get some bleach on a rag and wash it all off. So unfortunately, you're never going to be able to stop the moisture unless you decide to stop breathing. But what you can do is make sure that the room is well ventilated and it's well insulated.
Right, that's had about 20 minutes to firm up now, so it ain't going nowhere. Pull your little wedge out. There we go. That way, there's no pins, so there's nothing to patch up. That's it. Well ventilated room.
Unfortunately, a lot of people confuse condensation with damp, and they spend years fighting against a problem that they haven't got, all the while the mould's still there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.